Hello everybody. First of all, thank you for having me here. I've had a really great time so far, and thanks to David and GMDC for making this happening. It's a great conference. Just shortly about myself, my name is Jacob Riis. I work as a program director and communications director for the Nordic Game Conference. It's a conference, industry conference in Sweden, southern Sweden, and it was made on the foundation of a cooperation between the different Nordic countries. I don't know how many of you actually know the Nordic countries, do you? Yeah, Jacob, you know Denmark, right? Yeah, and Tom, yeah. But yeah, basically it's Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Faroe Islands, and Greenland, and a small thingy called Åland somewhere. I've never been there. And Iceland, yes, but of course, sorry. And thank you, Tom, my PA. So instead of mentioning these countries, I think that you might be familiar with some of the many great mobile games coming out of the region right now. I mean, it's you probably heard about Angry Birds, right? Probably heard about Minecraft, Heyday, yeah, Subway Surfers. The list goes on, and I'm very excited to be part of this region right now, because I think that there's a lot of good stuff coming out of it, but also a lot of stuff to share with new markets like here in Southeast Asia. So, with no further ado, I would like to introduce you to our panel today. And we're actually one person short, I think, but I think we can wing it anyway, right? So please welcome Taewon Yun, General Manager for Super Evil Megacorp. Please have a seat. And then Richard Chua from IGG Singapore. Welcome. And yeah, Thuy is not here, right? Oh, sorry. There you are. Thuy Chan Truong. I hope that is some way okay pronounced. Nice to meet you. And Nam Anta from VNG. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. So please have a seat. So today we're going to talk about the social aspects of mobile gaming, and well, I think that a way to start would be, instead of start talking about the future, maybe we should do like a backtrack down history. And each of us could maybe tell a little story about how we see the social aspects has been developing up through. I will start, just to make it easier for you. For me, I'm really old, right? So when I started playing games, online was something that was a wet dream somewhere in the horizon. So social gaming for me back then was to meet up with some friends and play, FIFA or football games or dancing games or whatever, and be together physically. I mean, not like that, but playing the game together and talking about it. Even playing single-player games like Tomb Raider or Super Mario or stuff like that. And that's kind of the really old way of looking at social gaming, right? A lot has been happening, and for me, I think that when mobile started to appear in my home country, I didn't really catch on to the online social aspects of, Game Center and the high score sharing and all of that. I just thought that it was like, I cannot see the point in doing that. But then a game came up. It was called Word Feud. Have you ever heard about that game? Anyone here? Okay, Jacob again. Well, just a quick story. It was made by one single guy from Norway. His name was Håkan, and he did like this Scrabble game. You know Scrabble, like a word game, and it was built upon a social component. You couldn't play it without another player from online or even offline. and he hadn't got any money at all for marketing, PR, anything. He hadn't got anything. He just released it. And then because this game was so dependent on the social element that you have to invite someone, and that person have to invite someone else, that created like a ripple effect. And because the game was so strong as it is, it's really fun. It's really good. It started this circle of promoting itself. And suddenly now I think it has like some way down of 25 million downloads in worldwide. And I think for me that's a good example of how the social element in a game can really enhance it in many ways. So do you have any war stories to share on this?
Well, I think that the social element in game not always help to enhance the experience. You know, like back in the 70s and 80s when you have the arcade, right? Like you said, they had a like rank board, like scoreboard, or like number 1 to 10, all in the like. So back then I was a player only. I was not a developer back in the days, but so going to arcade, playing those games, and then becoming number 1 in that rank was important, right? And then the next day come back, and then the name is changed. So someone else was doing it, and then that is a part of the first like social element for me. So by saying that it is not always a like positive experience, is that one day I saw like 2 guys were playing. I think there was like Tekken 2 in arcade as they were playing in the opposite machine, and then one guy was continuously beating the other, and the other guy like stood up, and he was a big guy, and he beat the other guy. So that's a like still social experience, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's negative. And as a professional, my first game was actually the online game. It was 1993. I was working on this tax mod game based on Diku mod. I don't know if any of you guys still remember that, but
Yeah, Jacob.
okay, thank you. So it was a like huge game in Korea. It has like maximum like CCU of 30. It was revolutionary back in the days because like before that, like the typical tax mod could support like 15 players total. Like we doubled that number to 30, and we had one like fan meeting. And then like there were like 40 people came in, so we had like total like 120 players in our community. So they come in and talk about like this feature they really love in game, and we sat there telling them awesome. But after the meeting, we like developers they came together, like we were perplexed because the feature they were talking about we had no idea what it was. So it was actually a bug in game that we didn't know that exists, but players were thinking that it was like awesome, like most brilliant feature the game has. So we said, okay, from now on, that's a feature. So that's sort of like like community interaction has been the I think it was like core of like social experience as a developer, and so not even like it was before, way before mobile, and like even before people started to talk about social. But I like to say that there are social elements in hardcore games as well. Like I said, like I'm a hardcore game developer. It's still in social.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else? You?
Okay. Firstly, maybe a little intro to myself. I'm fairly new in the mobile industry. Prior to this, I was with IAH Games, a regional publisher of online games. My own take of social and gaming is that I think back in when I was growing up, right, in the dark ages, before the days of the internet, really stone age, right? I played games too. Just that we had to be in the same room or within shouting distance of each other. We didn't have guns then, so we would make paper rockets with paper and shoot with a rubber band at each other. So I think that was the early days of the shooting games, and we'd be hiding behind walls in each other's houses, and you play with your neighbors, with your classmates. We could play by ourselves, right? It's not as fun to be shooting at walls. You have to shoot at somebody who moves, and I think that's the social part of games.
No, actually, 3,000 years ago, like cavemen used to throw rocks at each
Rocks
other.
at each other, right?
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yes, and I think it's because it's just more fun to be playing games with each other, and because being humans, we need this social interaction. We need to talk to people. We need to play, and just like after this, we're all looking forward to drink with each other. The social part of this whole conference, the highlight, and so the difference now is that with the internet, we are able to play with people halfway across the world in a different time zone. We can have fairly realistic guns, and it's in time to come we're going to have like the Oculus or the virtual reality. It's really fun, but I feel it's still very much a part of the human need to socialize, to interact with other people. I'm sure there are people who love to play games by themselves against the computer, but I think it's a lot more fun. So we can't run away. Also, my take is that gaming inherently has to have a social element to work. And I'm sure many of us have heard of people who played games with each other, got mad in real life, got married. I attended the wedding of a friend an ex-colleague, she's based in Singapore. She was playing World of Warcraft with a guy who was based in Chicago. And when she went on a business trip to the US, in the Bay Area, the guy flew in, met her, and then later he relocated to Singapore to work. They got married, and now they got a baby. And moved back. So it's really a very social kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I think the more social elements we can have in a game.
Can I be the like sort of the devil's advocate here?
Yeah, please do.
So back in 2002, I was working on World of Warcraft Team Blizzard, right? And actually it was 2003 because that was during the closed beta was going on. So the team lead of WoW team, like his name was Mark Khan. He one day came into the office. He was like, "Hey, I've just got a report that the like 2 people got divorced. 3 got fired while they were playing closed beta." So games can be anti-social as well.
All right, let me jump in. 2 disclaimer though. One is that I have much less memory of the dark ages. So starting from the 90s or something. And second thing would be more like I will try to speak to just spice it up a little bit. Talking from the perspective of someone who's like really focused on one local market, while bringing like together like a diverse portfolio from hardcore to midcore and casual. So with that, in Vietnam, memory, SNES, and then PlayStation, and then PC, PC Bang, and that is something that like everyone's like kind of remember. But then we start doing like MMORPG. People start making friends across town, across the country. But then we start doing mobile. We suddenly like ask one question, like, what's the PC Bang experience? Like, where will people get together to play? Is it social anymore? Is it like less social? Is it even more social? And the second thing about casual and casual social game, as we say, and hardcore, is like we really have to think, especially in designing the game, like what is the features or the types of game you want to play with your friends, and what is the type of game you want to play with like someone else, like elsewhere. Could be also your friend, but like someone is like more of an interest, share interest. And the third maybe revolution, maybe like because like before everything Facebook, and then other things, we only have the forums. There's still Reddit there, but like forum is like a very, very hardcore experience for gamer who love your games. They only come there, they share the interest, they debate, they do everything. Now where's the forum for your games? Not everyone like run a forum, and not every kid's growing up like learning that forum experience name anymore. How can we create that conversation? It's also a social experience. It's not in-game, but it's like very closely related to the games. So those are the things that I have been thinking about. Like when I look back, like I don't find a PC bang for my mobile games, and I think about like certain example that comes to mind, like how partly when I think about Supercell game, when they focus on a tablet experience, one extra point for them is like it's a very shareable device. It's big, they can play it everywhere, and in Vietnam we see a lot of people playing coffee shop, and then that's a viral factor, but that's also a shareable factor. And when we design like feature, social feature too, right? There was like one long time ago best practice of trying to like push feed to push like pictures feed to people news feed. Flappy Bird again does it. Like there's a shareable moment of like getting so angry, although it's not inside the game, right? But it's a shareable moment because we want to share. We want to share to someone. And that's part of the social part of it. So those are the things that I have been thinking and looking back at the social aspect of gaming.
Thank you. And Thuy? Thuy? I'm doing my best here. Do you have something to add in this regard as well?
So he just make me feel like I'm really old because like.
So it's a competition.
I make other people feel older. Don't worry.
So I belong to the group over here where like I still remember the dark age where so I was talking to one of the reporter yesterday. He asked me how I grew up in Vietnam, and I said I didn't have my house didn't have electric until I was 7 years old. I didn't have my first TV until I was 9 years old, and basically like my childhood. Gaming means like I come up with some game and I play it on the ground, and I have my own garden and I build my own garden. So that is my definition of game. Like I come up with a ton of game by myself, and I was the only child, but I have a lot of neighbors that they come and they play around with me. So we come up with a ton of games together. I think it's really fun. I not attached to any stroke up electronic when I growing up. But when I go to university, I decided to take computer science as my major. So it's kind of awkward, but and then when mobile phone come out, I actually developed my first iPhone app in 2008, but I did not own an iPhone until 2009. So I think game is all about creativity. And social game is when you want to share the experience together with your friend or your college or the people who you exciting to basically spend a moment together with. So one of the social aspects that I've seen from my it's like 6 years of experience in mobile game is actually the creator of an application called Whiteboard Collaborative Drawing. So you know how you can use your iPhone and you can open a whiteboard app and you can draw to describe your idea. And instead of like you had to share if I draw like a very funny face, and instead of I had to show my phone to you, like so at that time, with the first generation of iPhone, the second generation of iPhone only had either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And so we use the Bonjour connectivity to connect two devices together. And basically, whenever I draw on my phone, we use the Bonjour connectivity to show it on the other phone in real time. So that application basically is that because like, I don't want to share my phone to the other person. So it's kind of like, even though it's anti-social, but at the same time, it's very social. So every user that I acquire, and I end up acquiring 2 users because no one want to draw along. So that application become the #1 whiteboard application on both iPhone and iPad. So we developed the iPad version of that whiteboard way before iPad come out. So on the first day that iPad come out, we got in line and we go and we install that whiteboard app on the iPad at the store. And that application right now has over 10 million downloads around the world. And right now I'm working on a mobile social gaming technology to basically enable game developer to take their game to integrate with any kind of social messaging around the world.
Wow. So you are really ahead of your time, and the rest of us are from the dark ages. That's an interesting combo there.
Well, don't include me in there.
No,
I'm just 26.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to, and thank you everybody for your input here. I just want to say this is a session about sharing, and I think that a really good way of showing that would be to involve all of you, not as in a Q&A at the end, but continuously. So if anyone has anything to say, just scream and ask us questions. That could be a good way of sharing. So moving into the contemporary times, social media, of course, is like really dominating not only the games sphere, but the whole cultural media picture right now. I would like to ask you to tell the audience a little bit about your experiences and advice of using the different social media services as part of your games. You know, any challenges, pitfalls, concern that you have to address when developing a game with specific focus on social media platforms.
I guess what I did is probably different from like most of the mobile game companies, because again, what we do is hardcore gaming, and then in game itself, like it is a PvP game, so we have a team fighting each other, but like we don't even allow them to like talk to each other, so we disable the chat to reduce the toxicity of the like mobile games. So the social aspect or social media is we use mainly through the streaming media that like people stream their matches online, or like on Twitter we interact with our own player base. So everyone has a Twitter. We talk to player base, asking questions, to answer their question, sometimes play with them. So like for us, like the social media is, you know, the how we interact with our game community, rather than really like utilizing and embed that experience inside of our game. So that is actually wanted to curious about like your experiences, because like to us, the hardcore gamers, is more about, you know, like creating those community outside of the game. And how you guys, you know, integrate that inside a game is something I'm really curious myself.
I think for our games, for IGG, most of our games are mid-core games. We use the social media very much to engage with our gamer community. Right? We interact with them, we post notices, we share news with them, and sometimes we would even organize real-life meetups for some of these gamers, where we actually meet them with the face-to-face at the cafe somewhere, and it's very much a way to engage and to stay engaged.
Is the mic on?
Oh, is it on? Really?
I guess you should
Put it nearer.
close.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
I gotta like almost kiss the mic. Right, and we have to. We would actually organize meetups. So we use social media very much as a way to engage and to keep engaging our users, our gamers.
So to stick with the thing that I mentioned before about virtual friends and real friends, I think it's also, you can like draw a matrix about like casual, hardcore, and virtual friend and real friends. So I think like for social games per se, casual games, I think it's a lot depending on like to creatively learning the social APIs and its potential using the data to really create a social experience that you can play with your friends, your Facebook friends or your live friends, or especially your Zalo friends for our example. that's another type of experience. And for hardcore games, we're moving into more of like your virtual friends. You can convert to like real friends, but there's still a different community, a niche community. So those are the things that like we think about, we try to separate. But then also in mid-core, hardcore game, I think one of the important experience that we watch and we see everywhere is that the guild or the clan experience. That's like a group of people sticking together and they even have social pressure on each other. This is boss time, go in, or you get kicked out. Or sometimes you just like, you let us down, kind of like that. It's a very social experience and some people really, really love it. We see some of our gamers, even like VIP gamers, just stay in the game, choose a game just based on that. When they learn that this game have a good social factor to it, and it's like totally in game, they stick with it. They don't care about gameplay anymore.
Well, that's very true. Like even with World of Warcraft, once you play the game for like 2-3 years, then it has just turned into the 3D chat rooms. So people gather together, like chat to each other, but not really playing. And then when patch comes out, they check it out and let's just talk. So that's what. So I agree with you on that. At the same time, sometimes what really bothers me is that when we talk about social or gaming, I feel that lately people talk too much about data and analysis. Like, how do you analyze your fun? I'm laughing, so I'm 90% happy or 96% happy. Sometimes I gotta think that we should blend in more of traditional this is fun because this is fun because it's fun. Instead of 25% of players were retention now churn up.
Well, in my defense, I think us in the game industry, especially in the freemium part of it, is very data driven and love to measure things, and that is something that I had to deal with as a marketing head. So we have to think about branding too, and until now, branding had not so good measurement or to really understand and to think about fan page. How do you define a successful fan page? It's not just a very big fan page with so many followers. And why people say Brave Frontiers have such a good fan page, such like that. And I think it's part of the experience of the game. It might not be social per se, but we on the social media, people love the fan page. People love playing the game, but people also love seeing the fan page and all the posts. It creates a fuller experience of how people perceive the thing that is literally not real, just on your phone. But people seeing it around, and people can share. People can share the contents that they like, not people share the contents because they have some gifts. So I think trying to measure it is hard, but to we just try to have a framework to think about what can pull and what can push and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love fan pages. I love to see what our fans create. Sometimes they surprise us all the time. What I less like is there are too many A/B tests in this industry right now. So maybe just A test, and if it doesn't work out, next one.
I think the best experience, the best way to acquire user is from the user themselves. So variety very, very important. So the very first game that Green got published in 2008 it's a game called Brain Tuner. It was actually in the top chart of both US and UK for 6 months straight. The game is very simple. Basically, is that 1 + 1 = 2? Is that right or wrong? And basically, people just compete on the who the fastest one. And at that time, we were college students. We did not know how to basically build a fancy backend. Of course, not that many people think about sharing on Facebook or social media back then. So we create our so-called leaderboard, and it looked terrible. Like now I look back on it, I cannot believe I come up with a leaderboard look that bad. But yeah, I mean it went viral because I think like we had a world record of someone who did 20 problem in 10 seconds. And actually some of our fans even create like a YouTube channel and like show off like how he was able to achieve like 10 or 15 seconds for 20 problem, and that YouTube channel become like kind of like somewhat the official brain tuner channel, because like we did not know how to use social media back then. Like I watched YouTube like once a month back then, because I'm not a big fan of like sitting in front of my computer and watch people do something. Like, I would rather do something with my computer rather than watch other people do it. That YouTube channel kind of like help a lot of our users to get kind of like engaged and sharing their score on our leaderboard. So at that time, our leaderboard has like 100,000 submission like every month, and it was like a crazy number. And at that time, the pitfall is we did not know how to do the back end, so of course our server crashed. Talking about like the group of people who also play game together. So I remember last year when I still had my office in Vietnam, I just sold my company early this year. So now I'm actually based in Silicon Valley. But last year when I went to Vietnam, so my whole company, we were playing Heyday together. And it's actually a very fun experience, because like you think that's an online game, but actually online, offline at the same time. Because I remember like I keep bugging my employee like, hey, sell me this. And then they were like, hey, we should trade. And so, you know, that kind of experience, it reminded me back then like, oh, so people were talking about how right now mobile phone make everything moving toward the you know, our phone, but at the same time, you know, game like that, it pulled like from online to offline at the same time. So we did so with my company right now, we actually did a test with you know, with a case of when you talk about how user and Zalo actually playing game together. So last year we published a game with integrate directly with Tango, which is, you know, another social messaging that had over 200 million downloads, 200 million users around the world. And some of our stats are actually very interesting. So like we increased the 7-day retention up to like 37% compared to regular Tango integration. So we had like the Facebook integration version, and we had the Tango integration version. So we increased our user retention. Also, we boost the revenue by 20x compared to, so sometimes you thought, oh, if I have one game, I have one friend on this game, how much money I'm gonna spend, versus, oh, I have 2 friends on this game, how much I'm gonna spend, and if I have 8 friends on this game, how much I'm gonna spend. So the growth of that number, like the more friends you have, especially with an app like Zalo, when you have like a lot of user condensed into one place. So for Tango, our user actually condensed in Arabic market, and we see that the exponential growth of when the game has like the person who has 8 friends on a game, that exponential growth compared to the person who has only 2 friends on a game. It's not like 8 times, it's like exponential growth, like 2 to the 8.
Oh, really interesting. Is there anyone out here who wants to ask anything? Come on, it's about sharing. No? No.
I think like everyone just wanna go home and
Yeah, they're just so tired.
Party. The ultimate social experience, party is awaiting. That's why, you know.
Yeah, they're waiting for the real social experience. Yeah. Oh, there's actually one. David. Is there a mic somewhere? Teddy. Yeah, you can have it.
Okay, I don't want to make everyone too late. You know, okay. So Thay, I think I heard about your PPT or slide, very good. You know, why glorious. But I think the esports in the future is like very social. You know, because they play with friend, play with the competition. So in this kind of this like the marketing side, I think is really good for attract the user and encourage the user to play the competition and win the medal. When everything. So I think maybe this is one of way to do the socialize. Otherwise, what do you think about the video game? You know, because in the future there are some trends for the not only esports, maybe otherwise you have some comments, you guys, video games.
Actually, one of the reasons why we are working on Vainglory is that we were not happy with the games that are out there in mobile. I'm sorry, like not trying to like insult anyone here, but as a hardcore gamer, it was really hard to find something that I want to play, right? And also kind of tired of the business model that like nickel and dime players to death. It has become like prevalent in mobile game industry, and I was actually worried about that because whenever I talk to someone in mobile game industry, they were talking about that's the trend. You have to follow that. But if you think about that, it's just 2 years. And I've seen enough, cycles in game industry, even though I'm just 27. But what I mean is that, so that was really, like worrisome that I think that we were alienating our player base. Like I am in this game industry because I love to play games. And that is actually what I meant by like too much analysis is not fun. And what I was worried about is that by alienating the player base, we may be going into another Atari shock, if you know what Atari shock is. So that is what I've been seeing in mobile game industry. And then what Super Evil is doing is that what would be the next step as a mobile game. So we do think that there will be multiple companies that does like 10 times as big as Riot Games or Supercell. Like opportunity is there, but I don't think that the next big thing will be coming out of analyzing what everyone has done in the past. It will be coming out of somewhere that no one has ever done before. That's what World of Warcraft did. That's what League of Legends did. That's what we are trying to do. I don't know like if we are gonna succeed or not.
Yeah.
But that's what we believe in, and that's what we are trying to do and having fun doing it.
Great. Okay. Other panelists also, Jacob also maybe answered the question because do you think that the esports for the future, it's because in China there are many companies use the mobile style of the game, right, to do the esports competition. After the WCG died, because there are WCA, someone make the competition. Many, but this is a promote for the gaming. I think it's term for the esports right now or a lot. You guys can give some your other 4 people. You can give some idea or maybe your insights. Who wants? Yeah.
I mean, it's a big question. Partly because when we think esport for mobile, we also putting something into. I mean, besides some of the title, we looking at a much bigger and much more casual user base. So I don't know if it will work. And some of our most hardcore player, besides playing Glory and Heroes and Chaos, maybe prefer to stick like when to show their skill on a computer or a console. But then more and more people like they do like to compete. So we have Dota Arena, which you guys know of. We call it Dota in Vietnam. We try to organize competition. It's hard, but it's fun. But I don't think like we really on the trend to like have people pick it up and people just like try to gather events and stuff like that. Or maybe it could be just the lack of a suitable title that can create like more local communities, which will feel esport, which will feel not just the players, but also we need the audience. And it could be a real opportunities for the future, and I think it's still like somewhere somehow an unproven picture for me right now. But it's fun, and if like we think about something else that can really drive esport, historically the FPS title. I think the time for those FPS title to have like mass adoption and like a very nice experience on mobile is still to come. We know we fire in China, but it's still yet to be like a very, you know, competition wise.
Can I interrupt a little bit here? So if you think about FPS, and then if you think about how you show the game to the mass audience, there is an inherent problem in FPS to become a esports because you are seeing the back of the guy and you don't know what's going on like on the battlefield. So that's what I meant by, you know, it needs to be fun to watch and it needs to be broadcastable. So if FPS wants to become a esports, that's what they need to develop. Like they need to show the whole battleground so that people like audiences can see what's going on screen. And typically FPS is so fast, right? Yeah. So what they see is that, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the experience, right? You don't really understand what's going on. It's just like.
So that is one of the bigger problems, and then actually this is something I experienced with World of Warcraft as well. Like there was a like dueling mode in World of Warcraft. We tried to like come up with a TV program out of it, and that's when I realized that okay, this is not gonna work until we come up with a way to show this properly on screen. So like. I do think that the esports is the future, and then it will come from like mobile. The reason being, again, you cannot, you know, actually you can, but it's not easy to bring around your desktop and play with your friend. Inherently, mobile is something that you can bring around, like, play with your friend, so easy, if it is a competitive play. So that's why I think it will come from mobile, and that's why it will have a like big audience in the future. It's just that you need to build the right content for that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. And I was just say I think that the problem right now is that in esports it's very much focused on reaction-based gaming, right? And that is good enough for the players because it's about being fast and having great reactions. But it's really, really hard for spectators to get the same kind of experience out of it. So I think that in time, new genres is needed into the esport area to evolve it, to make it more user or more spectator friendly.
Well, in ESPN in US, World Series Poker is pretty popular, like spectator sports, you know. So TCG could be one of those games that can be pretty popular, and it doesn't really require many adaptation to create a broadcasting mode. So I think that that's one genre that can be done. Mm-hmm. Actually, FPS with the right broadcasting mode, I think another genre that can be done as well.
Yeah. So I think we have a short time left here, but I think it would be suited to try, at least as this is the very, very, very last session of this year's conference, to try to take a look into the future and talk just a little bit about where do you see the social aspect of gaming going into the future. I mean, right now we're talking about blending online and offline worlds, integrated video sharing, you know, second screen experiences where you use the mobile together with your console or your even TV programs. So do you have any kind of predictions of where is social going?
I guess I talk too much, so I say last.
You've been a wonderful panelist, Richard.
I think personally, I'm very excited about the future of casual game on social messaging, because right now we can see like a lot of like basically people are even parents start adopting texting. If 10 years ago I tell my mom like 70 years old right now, 10 years ago she's 60 years old, and if 10 years ago I asked her like, Mom, text me, she gonna like, are you insane? But right now, so like she's texting me like every day, if not every other day, because she know that if she call me, maybe I'll pick up, maybe I'm not. But if she texts me, they change for her to get a reply 100%. So I think social messaging is something. It will be the future where it will be the platform for casual game. Will be the platform for social game, where you are talking with a friend and you're like, hey, actually like start playing this game really fun, and then you get a link, and then when you click into that link, and then you can like pop up the game and you play right away. That would be something that I'm really exciting about. And right now, like combined on the social messaging, we see like billion people on different social messaging right now. This number gonna go up to like 2-3 billion in the next 2 to 3 years. So that will be where the user of the casual game gonna be.
I think that two things come to mind, and I'm supposed to make the same sales for Zalo, but you can just copy that. I think the two things for me is like three things. One is like I tend to see it also shorter, but in a cycle in terms of trend. So like once in a while you see like a big wave of new social platform and social integrated games that comes into people's life. People talk about it, people annoy others because of requests. And then it dies down, not because of the platform, but more of the users getting used or getting too bored of that. And then there should comes in more of a different or a more human social experience. Or just like people, as more gamers coming in, they will get into different cohort and like different groups, play different types of games. Second thing is that I still think also along that line, there's still opportunities even with the current tool, not just like the new technology and the more smartphones around, to design better social games, to make it really like people really enjoy the experience rather than just like trying to get like the biggest K factor or the highest share. I think that is important, and there is like still people out there trying to do that, and it will pay off. I think the third things that comes to mind is that I think as another cycle is like people going online, offline, back. So people will be like flush with the new device platform, and it's like so exciting. But then at some point, people will just try to not be so impressed by the internet, or stop looking at their smartphones and try to enjoy the more fuller experience. So I think that is something that like mobile and location based then can really do. And I actually in Vietnam start to see like some even not bars but beer clubs try to have like a same screen looking for people with smartphones that can have a shared experience there. Could be a game, could be a drawing things, but I think that is really a possibilities that like that's so open for people to think about, and smartphone become part of our life. Could be some of your limb or something, but I think people will learn more and more about it, put it into the right place, and then have it as more socially acceptable rather than just like pirate king requests.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think with more and more people playing games, I mean, my own mom is playing games on a tablet. Unforeseeable, she's never touched a computer her whole life, but she's playing games on a tablet. I would think that we're going to see more and more people playing games on mobile, and these people. And on more ideas, they are still pretty old school, right? They're not used to text messaging. They still like to meet people face to face. So as mobile devices become more prevalent, we might, like what An said, we don't notice that we've got electricity anymore. We take it for granted. So over time, we're gonna take things like the mobile device for granted. We don't notice it's around. And then games, in that sense, it's a form of entertainment, a form to pass our time. we will not see it around. So the social elements might become more integrated with the game. And we don't realize in the future that we're actually playing a game. We're just going about our daily lives without noticing that it's present.
Yeah. So yes, in the future we are going to have an embedded chip in your neck, so there won't be any mobile.
At birth,
So
right?
before that, one thing I totally agree with you is that like 2 years ago I realized that I even though I'm a hardcore game player, I completely stopped playing games on PC because I couldn't play PC games while I lie down on couch or in bed. So it sucked, right? Once I started to play mobile games, like playing PC games on the desk, it sucked. So that I think that is not only me, and that will be the sort of future. So that's why I believe that mobile gaming is the future of gaming. And like what is going to happen in the future too far away, like you guys already talked about it, so I'm gonna talk just a little bit about what we are working on right now to enhance. So what we try to do is that we believe that we would like to have people to organize their own esports on their own. We'd like to empower our players to organize their own tournament, right? So that is some of the features we'd like to see in game. Not that we are working on right now, is a plan someday. So they host their own game. They like create their own clan. They have their own leaderboard, and they maybe like they can have a tournament between different clans or different countries, or even like cross-server competition. So all those elements are going to be a part of the like meta game, like if you will. And like if you think about that, it is all about how people interact out of the game, and like our game is not social game, but that is the last social activity to us. Thank you.
I think our time is actually up. I want to thank you so much for participating in this, and I hope that you got something out of it, a little bit of sharing at least. And with these words, is it me that are really closing this down now, or?